You're just in time. Saved you a seat for the Pillars of Man, your number one podcast for the best conversations you could find aimed at male self improvement. And tonight, I'd like to take you on a journey as I dive as deeply as I can in connecting two of what I believe to be two of the most important ideas for any man to understand if he wants to live his very best life. It will be a part one and a part two for tonight's episode, where I'm going to call it the first idea is war, the second idea is renaissance. So we have war and we have renaissance. Now, what I mean by this war is I believe we are witnessing society changing quite rapidly. When you specify that through the modern male human experience, this is how reality is being perceived by all of us men alive, breathing, doing something right now in the 21st century. This war, it does mean to be in combat, to do battle against something. And it's a nameless foe in this way because it is comprised of so many different things. I'm going to try to touch upon all of them. It's just, I believe any man alive at any age is experiencing this war in some way, shape, or form. But, bro, if you could picture a battlefield for me right now, nothing too crazy, but you just got this massive army of men, and you got the front lines, and then you have the guys in the middle, and then you have the rest of the fighting force, all the guys in the back. So this is what I mean. This war is affecting all men, but the younger you are, the closer you get to the very front lines. So in this way, I believe at the very forefront, okay, the part of the army, which is I'm saying all modern males, the guys that are really in the thick of it, okay, the 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 guys that are you know feeling the full effects and the experiencing this war the most intensively, that would be millennials. Okay, all right, millennials are a little bit older now, so maybe like the front back ish, but then the alphas and the betas. Betas and alphas are probably very front lines with my generation, the millennials, right behind them. You might know, or you can guess where I'm already headed. This war is simply, if I were to simplify as condensed as I could possibly say it, the effect of the war on any modern man is that of decay. This is what it is. And I'm sure you've heard of this insult before. It can be applied to any human being, but very often you'll see it flung at a man in order to insult him, or if it's not an insult, it's a critique at his current lifestyle. That term is degenerate or degen. And I want to use that right now, but not with a bit of a different twist on the meaning. What I mean by a degenerate man is a man in the inactive decay. He is actually degenerating. It's becoming more with every day that he continues to wake up to, despite how long he may live. It's becoming more difficult for him to think critically, maybe to even process thought at all, save the very base biological functions of, okay, time to wake up, I can't sleep anymore, time to use the bathroom, time to get some food, I should drink something, okay, now I got to clock in and clock out, sit through traffic, come back home. Yeah, okay. Like the bare minimum, actions and functions that uh, any man is going to have to perform to uphold his survival. It's like, I, I believe most guys would love to be able to, make it to tomorrow. I mean, I I can see how that's debatable, but you gotta work with me right here, man. This is on the assumption, yes, this guy, he wants to stay alive, but then anything past that. I mean, you want to talk about bare minimum? This is the rest of possibility, existence, life, anything else that you could think in your head to try and achieve, to try to go do, to try to taste, to explore, to to go check out. It's everything else. A man in this degenerative state would have absolutely no desire to do any of that. It is literally just survival. So in this way, that's a very tragic cutoff of the mental capabilities any human, male possesses. Of course, we are all going to possess mental prowess to varying degrees. Some of us, normal IQ, others crazy geniuses, right? Those are, who are these guys, the Elon Musks, all right, just wow. Okay, computer for a head. But that's just the mental, though. And then physically speaking, this would be to lose his health and have whatever, in whatever kind of sickness or illness or dysfunction. Literally, the body atrophies. It's you. I mean, obesity and heart disease. High cholesterol. Just difficulty going for a jog, the how unattractive it becomes to walk anywhere. I'm trying to get closer to the extreme, because that's the final destination of continuing to live in this decay. It's very emotional, and it's very spiritual as well. It's a lot of depression here. It's a lot of social anxiety, just all that isolation, or simply not enough human and social interaction. And that absolutely has very negative and detrimental effects on the mind, especially for men, because there's a very uh, core part of masculine nature to connect with a brotherhood or a tribe. The squad, his homies. You don't have any of those guys in life. Then it's a lot of, you and yourself every single day. And that can have all sorts of very adverse effects. And the nihilism of it, the hedonism of it. There is nothing to do. At least that couldn't be further from the truth. And I'm going to try to get there tonight. That's part of the Renaissance. But when you believe that, when you really think that I have nothing to wake up for, there's nowhere for me to go, there's no one for me to meet. Is not. I mean, what else is there but clock in, clock out, clock in, clock out? And I mean, that's paying bills. That's ensuring survival. And that in and of itself is a blessing. But when it's nothing but that, okay, maybe typical, 40, 50 hours a week. What is this, 1 or 2 days off? Maybe a few hours in the evening, on work days. And it's to take that time back and use it for whatever feels good. This brings a man in all of his glorious potential. Previously on the Pillars of Man podcast, I took a super, super deep dive into healthy and divine masculinity. Now, the very opposite of this would have to be something along these lines. This very degenerative state. That is nothing short of a war. I mean, where would you attribute it? Because if I say it like this, then that does kind of beg the question. Well, okay, who or what is waging this war on men? Okay, honestly, I would love to speculate, but I'm not. I'm not going to take the time to attribute a source of this. I'm, bro. It's just the simple fact that it is happening, and it's getting more and more and more obvious. I mean, it's been kind of we male loneliness epidemic, toxic masculinity. Do not get me started on that one. And just all of the data and the studies showing men struggling, men having such a hard time, boys falling behind, not going to college, a lot of the neat lifestyle becoming very prevalent among men in today's society. The NEET, not in education, employment, or training. It's all to seal, you know, seal, trap, kind of imprison any man who doesn't realize this is happening. That was really my inspiration for tonight. Is to keep you in this cage of that decay, of that degeneration. So if you're with me on this, bro, you see it happening too in your own way. Maybe not as dramatic as I'm making it seem, but you know what I'm talking about. Okay? If not perhaps you're a viewer where this is hitting pretty close to home. This is actually not too far off from some of your own personal struggles. Now see, that's exactly why this is it's a never there is no previous generation. Okay, our predecessors, they had their struggles, and they absolutely had their challenges, but this one right here is very insidious because it has such a way of hiding behind what took decades. This is years and years and years and years of conditioning from a very young age, from kind of a small baby boy, having him grow up in a society that normalizes such behavior, that it's not out of the ordinary to have terrible health, to never go outside, to do everything on a screen. That to the point where a man can be so convinced nowadays all of life should be. It's not. It's no longer. Could it be? No. It's you should live your entire life on a screen. Okay, because it's reinforced. It's supported by this very evil deception. If you don't do that, if you don't just stay locked in on consuming whatever you would want to consume on the internet, you know uh, via the smartphones, computers, big screens, whatever. If you don't do that, what would you do? Where would you go? What kind of life could you possibly have? And this, now I'm going to try go a little bit deeper right here and explain how dangerous that is really becoming. The fact that it is happening and it's becoming more and more and more normalized in this way. Guys, unaware, in denial, you know, ignorant of this kind of situation, without the simple acknowledgement, this is going on, this is really happening to us, bro. Okay, once again, those on the front line of this war, oh, the millennials, the zoomers, and the alphas, it's a completely, almost almost completely different world than maybe the world that the baby boomer males were growing up into, okay, and heading into. It is just so different. It's never been easier not to fight. But make no mistake, it absolutely is a fight. That's why it is a war, bro. And it's very serious, because what you are at the risk of losing is absolutely everything. This is the best quality of life. These are your best outcomes. These are very joyous and sweet and fulfilling opportunities and outcomes that really are meant for you. Now, why do I say that? I don't know you, bro. I probably never will. Maybe, there's a chance you want to leave a comment on it. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, yo, what's up? But in this way, in this medium of my podcast, no, I can't see you and I don't know you. But I do know, for the simple fact that you are both a human being and a man, there is so much that you are able to do. This can't be argued. I understand. Yes, of course, you have to factor in circumstances and, contextually speaking, your personal life situation. Difficulties, illnesses, health limitations, genetics. There's talent, skill, potential. I get it. I get it. There are a lot of different factors that are at play here. That's not my point. My point is simply your willingness to to choose to explore these parts of life. That, at the very same time, it is like, oh, okay, well, what is out there? What can I do? How could I make my life better? That is the same question as asking, how do I become better? I had to do it. Yes, of course. I would always trace everything back to self-improvement. You really don't even need to call it that. Tonight, you call this fighting for your life. It's nothing. It's nothing short of your whole life. And it's such a unique, and it's a very different kind of beast to do battle with, to storm out there, on the battlefield. Okay, uh, like Leonidas Spartan 300 style. It really is like that. But the enemy is, it has you surrounded. The let's all right. We'll keep going along these lines. The enemy is how easy it has become to ignore anything that is happening outside of your room. The enemy is how detached men have become from what they need to do, where they should be going, the things that they could be doing to, exercise all of these different capabilities of their bodies and their mind, and and their heart of passion and pursuit. All of that can be substituted for artificial pleasure. And this is kind of a brand new foe, never before seen. It's been a while now, but in terms of the grand scheme, it throughout all of human history, this is very new. We are experiencing the first few generations to have been born having it throughout their entire lives. It's completely brand new challenge. You really can. Like, if you have the internet and you make enough to make ends meet, the lights are on, the Wi-Fi bill is paid, rent is chill. Like, these things, you got these things down pat. You don't see the expanse of possibility in life throughout existence. If you let it, it can be cut off at the door to your room, not even your front door, just the door to the room that you would stay in, to do whatever is the next best thing that just will make you feel good. You know, the male mind in this way has been so carefully, strategically, analytically hacked. What turns you on, what you feel like eating, what you feel like having for a drink, whatever kind of vice you're in the mood for, whatever kind of fantastical virtual world you would like to escape to, whatever kind of character you'd want to create to stay in, all these different dimensional planes. But the one that is most important, that is the one right here in reality. Because see, and I'm so curious. You can let me know what you think about this in the comments below. But for any man nowadays, to be in that reality is to be subjected to the war. Like, you don't even necessarily have to fight. If you don't, you're going to get absolutely trampled. That's why it's getting worse in this way. Uh, Not putting up a fight, then that's kind of just resigning to this box, so to speak. What else is there for me to possibly do but kind of sit, chill, and consume? Okay, let me just focus on the websites I go to, the games I play, the shows I watch. Okay, I don't even have to do it sober. All sorts of dispensaries. Okay, it's very legal nowadays. It's a lot of modernity has kind of unlocked that door. We have full access now to these substances that allow a man to stay put. You do not think, consume. Don't try to do anything else, because there is nothing else for you to do. All of that, a complete lie. That is the very opposite of what you and I as men were meant for in this world. But then, see, I wish I had good news for you at this point. It's on the way. But as I wrap up this first part of tonight's episode, what would be the only other option? I mean, that would be, all right, let me at him, right? Okay, put on the armor, helmet, okay, spear or sword, whatever. You pick your own medieval weapon. I believe I'm a spear guy. Shield, and you head out there and you try and you fight. And it's a heck of a fight, for sure. It is so much to struggle against. It is combat against comfort and convenience It is combat against the instantaneous possibility of having anything you would want ported directly to your mind and your perception for you to experience. Anything that you can think of, you can type that in, you can have it as fast as your internet can load it. And nowadays, it's pretty quick. That can absolutely lead a man into relentless despair, perpetual depression, really nasty places to exist in. But the flip side of this is at the very same time this war is happening, a byproduct, it seems, of where it is leading, a a kind of just a side effect. Maybe this was supposed to happen, maybe it wasn't, but it's happening nonetheless because this war began to occur. It began to wage on men. The better tech and connection, Wi-Fi connectivity, and all this technology, the better it got. It created what I'm very plainly dubbing the Renaissance, because it is spurring a revival, a renewed interest for men who, you know, see the playing field for what it really is. No coping, no delusion, none of that. Full reality. And then trying to outplay it. That is what is birthing this 21st century technological, lone wolf, lone king, though I don't recommend you do it alone. It's just a lot of guys are kind of, again, it is this acceptance. If my life is going to be like this, it's really just me. Well, what if I don't spend all hours? What if I don't devote all of my free time to just simply consuming? What could happen? What would happen to me? That brings us right into this idea of the Renaissance. This is perhaps the best way out for any man who not only does he see the the degenerative capsule or cocoon, life, society, modernity more specifically, is closing the walls uh, around him with, trapping him inside of. When you see this and you're looking for the best outplay maneuver, not to just break out, but to break out and then break in to a completely a different tier of living, a whole new life, stepping boldly into your best chapters, plural. This renaissance is is happening at the same time we're witnessing the death of the 9 to 5. It's just that just the thought of one place for the rest of your life until you're 65, in between 40, maybe up to 60 hours a week, every single week, for this, faceless, very impersonal corporation or company, however prestigious it could be. And understanding you're just a cog, having that feeling, especially with the really big ones, it's just data, it's all stats. And if the stats don't play out in my favor, you get cut. and it's back, right? It's kind of back to zero. Okay, now where do I go? Just to replace it with a new office, a new cubicle, a new what is it? This signing your life away. You know, my loyalty, my best years, all my effort, all my hard work until a retirement that may not actually cover it when we make it there. But to understand this and to see that is kind of what's happening now, it forces you to look at everything you have access to on a daily basis. And through this frame of the Renaissance, it is completely different. When you look at the internet not as a place of consumption and pleasure seeking, but you look at the internet as possibility, as the entire global, all of the world's information at your fingertips. When you are realizing you have something like this in your hands, that leads to, well, what am I able to do with this? How could I work with this to make my life the best life possible? And then that's when things get kind of interesting. If your frame changes from, I will allow this war to continue happening to me, or I give everything I have into making a stand and fighting back. Fighting back puts you in, well, direct confrontation with the enemy. That is where all the feelings of the struggle and the hard work and the friction, comes from. Yeah, that feeling of misery when you're the dopamine, or how that chemical works in our heads, how our brains produce it, is so used to the instant gratification, and the very, very highly stimulating images and sounds and certain portrayals of media. For that to be all of a sudden just like that replaced with articles, tons of words, books, okay, sitting still and trying to listen to some sort of seminar, masterclass, conference, whatever, that is a fierce struggle. I don't care who says what about this. Oh, okay, that's what you get. That's what some people would say. That's what you get. It's so difficult for you to focus, for you to do anything that's difficult, because what you're used to is, just enjoying all the cheap dopamine seeking, instantly gratifying activities. Okay, that's fair. However, that moment that a man chooses no more, the same moment a man decides how I would like to see what it would be like if I could experience a life in which I try, I fight back. That is nothing short of glorious. That is the very humble beginnings and the initial man of a climb, the initial climb a man takes into his own greatness. That is spectacular. So that's why you never hear me describing it like that, because I really do understand the struggle. But you were meant for it, bro. It molds you and it shapes you and it builds you. That's why it's hard. That's why the difficulties of life, the challenges, trying to do combat, fighting back against the enemy in this nameless 21st century, convenient, technological, very comfortable, okay, very, very tempting enemy. It turns you into a self-improver. It turns you into a man becoming king of his own life, because you're willing to rule your reality in a way that you're accepting all responsibility, trying to craft out, trying to reposition the time whatever free time you have, week in and week out, of how to take the time to figure out, how does this time best serve me? What can I do to my body to really experience good health, good energy? What are the things that I can do to increase, to build upon motivational passion, okay? Stalwart and very strong discipline. How do you build these habits? How do you get into these routines that help you craft the exact life that you want to live? So this is to become the architect of whatever you want. No, but really though, whatever you want. And it's not, I'm not saying this renaissance doesn't guarantee, like, just participating in it. Okay. Let me be a part of this revival, of self-sufficient, independent, thriving, joyous, purposeful, masculine men. Just sign me up. And it's like, you do that? It's not a guarantee though. None of it is a promise. What is promised is you are able to replace the degenerative lifestyle where because if you're with me on that point, the war is happening to us, whether you want it to or not. No, it's literally happening right now. You can ignore it. You can close your eyes to it. You can pretend, no, it's not. I just don't, I'm not a people person. I have no desire to be married. Not trying is my choice. I don't really want to do anything with myself. That's not even what I'm trying to say. I would personally, this is just my own opinion though. I believe that's a very tragic take on life, especially the possibility in this day and age. But I mean, if that's really the choice, sure. At the end of the day, how could really any of us, invade another man's life and be like, you have to live like this? If he doesn't think it's hurting him and he's not hurting anyone else, and I mean, you kind of not. I mean, you clock in, clock out, you're paying your bills, you pay your taxes, and then with all your free time, you just stay. You stay wherever you live, and you just, you kind of just do your thing on the internet. That's all good. What is not all good is when you know that that's not actually how you want to live. See, this is what I mean by, like, the war. It will affect you. These are you can ignore the consequences, but you cannot ignore the effects of the consequences. It's absolutely inescapable. You know, when a man is not able to stop himself from feeling really depressed, miserable, very just bitter, always in a terrible mood, he never has energy, you feel tired all the time, it's very difficult to wake up in the morning, because when your eyes open, you already know the day that is about to unfold. You have absolutely no desire to participate. That you can't run from. There's only one thing, and I believe it's only one thing because it's kind of easy in this way. I don't like it's really, I'm just trying to explain it, but it's almost like nature made this very simple. You fight. You have to fight. The struggle is the way. But at the same time, the struggle is to join this renaissance. To join this renaissance is to open up your life how it was always meant to be lived. To explore possibility itself. That's the promise. This is the guarantee I give you. Bro, if you want to get jacked, it it's not about how jacked can I get. It's that once you get into the process of, wow, this is the exercise, this is the movement, this is the weight. I got to try to lift heavier, the progressional overload and whatnot, and all that bodybuilding stuff. I think I'm going to be releasing probably a getting jacked episode soon. You just stick around for a Pillars of Man podcast near you. It's the experience of it, because the experience is how you live. It's how you live life. And anything you don't, like everything I just said right there, it's a lot. I know, no, I get it. It's definitely a lot, but any of that can be typed into the screen you're looking at me on right now. You can ask these questions to it, and it will give you all the answers. In terms of information, it's all there. That is a blessing. That's incredible. That's the edge. You'll find duality really in all things, and so the other side of this coin, okay, is from the degenerative to the regenerative. You can generate, you can create your best outcomes, the life that you really want to live. Waking up to days that you can feel good about. And it's not that you're certain. It's not that I will live this life because of what it can give me. It's that you'll live that life because you want to see what it can give you. You want to be there just so that you can find out and witness for yourself what the struggle will do to you, witnessing what the attempt will do to you. And there are so many. There really are. And this gives me hope, and this puts a smile on my face. Many, many, many are really living out their own version of this brand new renaissance that I hope continues to build more and more traction and momentum. I really hope it continues to blow up and explode. And so that more and more guys can see this is a very, I was going to say viable, this might really just be the best possible way to live. Content creators, independent contractors, self-employed, like, do what do you want to do? What's the best way for you to live the life that you really do want? And then you chase that. And that is anything. That can be anything. And it's, remember, one more time, brother. It's not that you can have anything, but the fact that you can try to chase and have anything. That journey will take you to unimaginable circumstances, like very difficult to predict. That's how crazy these rewards could really get. Who is to say? What or who could put that limitation on you? Nobody. It's not how this works. Again, that's part of the deception of how easy it is to do nothing and stay home and just lock in and consume and keep your virtual headset on, and just hang out with the AI robo girlfriend program. Okay, like I just saw what they turned Grok into. I was like, bro, what? Seriously? It's like the classic, crazy girlfriend from any of those animes, whatever that genre is called. It's like, wow, seriously? With the emo dress, okay, and the blonde pigtails, and what's like, come on, bro. Yeah, that it could be that. But maybe you've already been there. That's the thing. If not you, I know many guys like going through it. Oh, he's going through it. He's struggling through his life. That is kind of due to how all this inaction, choosing to close your eyes, stay away, pretend it's not happening, there is no war, ignore, and then wondering why it gets so difficult to continue to live, just to stick around. You really lose all hope. It breaks my heart to see. I go to these spaces on the internet trying to learn more, valuable insight to present here on my podcast. And, so many guys, 40 and down, that's just about halfway. In terms of time, that's so much more time left. And a lot of these guys saying, I'm never going to get married. I'm never going to be able to have kids. I'm never going to be able to afford my own home. I'm never going to be able to. When they're commenting that, I understand where it's coming from. It's this place of despair and hopelessness. It's just a really negative space to exist in. But you don't have to stay there. That's the thing. To stay there is a choice. Because you notice when a guy says this, I can never, no one's saying that but him. So the person who is ensuring it really will be never for him is the man himself. This is what all the convenience and the comfort, this is what it hides from you and me. This is what I mean. That is such a different kind of, what is this? This is a spiritual battle. This is some kind of internal war. Because the enemy is convincing you not to do anything. So then to try to go the other direction and make yourself do something in life, well, okay, so you're taking yourself on. You're saying I'm not waiting for anyone to help me or show up and save me, or waiting to get lucky, hit the lottery, keep on scratching the ticket, whatever. No, I'm saying, like, I'm going to take myself. I will pick myself up from where I'm at right now. I will start here. Start as you are. I say that because you are more than enough, bro. You have everything you need already to simply begin. If you're looking at me right now, you have everything you need. Like, as of right now, like, just to start, you might need to get some different things in the future, near future, depending on what you're trying to do. But in terms of just starting, like, just thinking about this, figuring this out, making a plan. Okay, let me try to do this. Let me try to check this out. I will explore this. I will see what to do here, where to go from here. That is all very possible. And that is your very humble beginnings to lead you into your finest experiences, bro. And you go, it's not that. I've always heard pessimists say, yeah, well, these men that that I'm talking about, you don't see, for every one of those guys that makes it, that makes the big bucks, and he made it, and he's going to be just fine, and really, wow, he pulled it off, all that hard work, good for him. You don't see the hundreds, the thousands, the tens of thousands who tried to do exactly what he did and failed, and they're never going to make it. That's not what it's about. My counter, and I'll end on this, that is not what it's about. What it's really about is you have the ability to sustain and dive into a brand new way of life that you can feel good, that is healthy for you, that allows you to witness just how far you can take it. That's the kind of life you can live for, because that's the life you were meant to live for, brother. That's what you were meant for, because that's what struggle does to you and me, bro. It turns us into kings. Regal, strong, independent, confident, self-secure. I am me. I know myself. I know where I'm trying to go. I know what I want to do. You don't like me. You want to insult me for whatever. You want to, make fun of me. You want to bully me for whatever reason. Do you? That's you. But me, this is what I do. Finding that has never been easier because you can start right now. Because you have the ability to press a button and you're going to watch the best quality of your life in terms of existing. That's what you're watching turn on. That's what's booting up. Right now, tomorrow, your next day off, whenever you're ready, it's right there. It's waiting for you. My favorite, but also very dramatic metaphor is that's a man's crown right there. You're kind of born with it because we were all born with this capacity to struggle against, to fight back, to do glorious combat with. Donning that crown is to attempt to just all of this negativity and the difficulty, all the tears and the sorrow, all of the nihilism and how none of it feels worth it. No one cares. Everyone's mean. I don't, every, people are just out there to take advantage of me. All of this negativity, when you feel as though everything and everyone just keeps taking a chunk out of you, that it's just always pummeling you. This is when you flip it and you get to be the guy. You get to be the guy to fight back and push back against all of this negativity. Because you always had the power, you always had the strength to do that. You're living in a time that will help you accelerate that process. That's Google, that's AI, that's ChatGPT, that's YouTube, that's whatever you want to use to learn how to enjoy your life to its maximum. And I welcome you, brother, to the Renaissance, the masculine Renaissance of the 21st century. My only warning is to join it means you're joining the war. It means you're going to have to try and fight. If you're looking for a place to help you do exactly that, a space where, I go super deep into all sorts of discussions, topics, and whatnot, all about this, and another man fighting shoulder to shoulder with you, and you check me out. You're watching the Pillars of Man, your number one podcast for the best conversations you could find, aimed at male self-improvement surrounding philosophy, masculinity, wellness, and lifestyle. I'm your host, Kumo. I continue to reshape the modern male reality, giving any man who wishes to pull the very best out of himself a way to do that. Bro, thank you so much for being here. You like content like this, hit that subscribe button for me, give me a like, and I hope to see you real soon for my next one. Until then, take it easy, take good care of yourself, and I love you so much. Peace.